Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome. We have another guest today here on Keeping It Real. So, welcome, Sarah. We're excited to have you in the studio with us.
Thank you, both Jennies or Jen and Jenny.
Yeah, it's
I
fun.
love
It's
this
fun
intro
navigating.
music. I was like ready to
Yeah,
dance with the intro song. So thank
Yeah,
you for the
thank you.
playfulness.
a little bit of energy to kickstart the conversation. So,
Yeah.
Sarah, tell us a little bit about yourself and your work in the world.
Yeah. I start with the hippie story because that's always one that gets people's attention because on LinkedIn, I call myself the hippie turned conscious business coach. And so the story goes that I grew up in a small hippie community back in the
Mm.
1980s. And so that's why I always say, like, community is in my DNA. I really experienced this as a child growing up with, not just my parents as a reference, but all these other adults as references as well. And just this idea of collaborating, co-creating, conflict resolution, all the words, right? That's how I grew up. And then that, I left that behind and I really felt like, oh, I'm going to go into this adult business creating world. And in 2006, I created my first business, online business in a LinkedIn consultancy and really built it the old way, as I would say now, with a lot of grit and kind of like, yeah, I gotta get to the 6-figure mark that everybody was talking about. And when I got there, I was like, well, that didn't make me happy. I'm not happier now. And so I really started to zoom out and say, I think LinkedIn is great, but I have a bigger or a different role to play here. I really felt like I'm sitting at this crossroad where I either keep going, but I do it my way, or I give up and just go back to a corporate job. And so
Mm.
I realized, well, no, I think this is what I need to do here. I need to talk about, you know, even in my LinkedIn consultancy, I was always talking about doing things the gentle way. The not I wasn't using humane yet, but that's kind of what it morphed into to, this idea of humane marketing and humane selling, humane business. So that's really what I'm all about today. And I think it's kind of like we're creating a mini revolution. Uh, in 2019, when I first started talking about that, people were kind of like, what are you on about? But now you can tell, yes, people are ready to leave behind all of the old traditional ways of doing things, marketing and business and selling. And they're intrigued by doing it in a more humane and human way. So yeah,
Oh, I
that's
love
that's
it.
my life's work now.
I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah, because Jenny and I have been on the same journey because we left corporate for our own reasons to get away from the hustle and grind
Mm.
and realized we brought it into our business because it's all that we knew. And thankfully, we have both of us, and it's like, what are we doing? And redefining it, redefining what everyone's telling you to do and saying, but it doesn't feel right and
Mhm.
doing it your way. And it is quite a journey. It is a revolution. And
Right.
it's scary sometimes because you're doing it different, but it's like, but it feels so aligned. So I love it.
Mm.
I love the whole story because I too grew up with hippies, so I can
Mm.
resonate with that as well.
There
I
we
was
are,
back
the
in the
hippie club.
70s, so I'm a little older, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because there's this astrologer that I follow, and when she talks about this new paradigm and that we're shifting into a new world, she always says like it's the time of the hippies again. They're coming back because really what we want is that love and peace and not war, and that
Yeah,
was the hippie movement. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I think it's, you hit on it. It's a sense of not overriding yourself to follow someone else's formula, which um, is such a foreign concept for us in this world, because it's like, oh, here's the pathway to success, follow this. So there's the traditional way, get a job and climb the ladder and things like that, and then there's this entrepreneur way, and it's all about like grinding and hustling and doing more, and you know um manipulating people into buying as much and as quickly as possible, and scaling so you don't have to be in your business, and all of that stuff. And I know for me, like, at the very beginning, I was like, I don't want any of that, like that is not my goal. And so I know I found you early on in my journey, and was like, oh my gosh, here's someone that's talking about things differently, because it's easy to fall back into those patterns because that's all you see out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
familiar,
Unfortunately.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. That's what I always say. And I think we talked about this, Jenny, is that we're right now, since we are in this transition, we're missing the role models, right? For
Mhm.
the new way. And so I remember, like, for me right now, having written these 3 books now, I feel like I play a small part as being one of those role models. And it feels good because I'm no longer alone. Where in 2019, I was completely alone. And, I was like on this podcast tour with on the traditional marketing podcast. And it's almost like people were laughing at, me and my way, and where's the conversion rates, and where's the stats and the numbers that prove that your method is working. And so it was a tough time. So now it feels like, no, we've turned the page, and there's more people interested in following what you're doing as well. But I think what we need is, yeah, communities where we can tell each other, no, but this is the only way that we want to do it, right?
Right.
And not always go back to, yeah, but maybe we should do it this other way because look at them, it's working for them, they're making
Right.
thousands and thousands, right? So yeah, it just
Yeah, but
makes
are
that.
they happy? I
Yeah,
mean, are they
exactly. Yeah,
happy?
yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
or are they really making thousands and thousands? Like, that's something that I think is easy to create a facade of success in this
yeah,
online world. And
yes,
it makes you, how deep does that success actually go? you know A, are they happy? And B, are they, are they really, bringing in the numbers that they allude to bringing into, right?
yeah,
So I think that, you know, one of the things that I love about your message is, how do we rethink things, and step away from those old paradigms? And one of the things that I got a chance to read your book already,
thank you.
was around building authentic relationships. Can you talk a little more about that as, a key to kind of this new way of doing business?
Yeah. um Authenticity, that's kind of like become a buzzword, right? So when people hear authentic relationships, they kind of go, well, I'm doing that all the time, right? So they don't really understand when I use authentic relationships. So I started to introduce another term, which kind of gets people to go, what? Which is new business intimacy, right? So
Hmm.
the minute you talk about intimacy, people are like, whoa, that's way too close. No, no, no. Like, we're in a business relationship, so we want to keep things, business like. But that's exactly what I mean by authentic relationship culture. It is this new business intimacy where we're like you just said before, Jenny, where we're not wearing a mask and we're not pretending that everything is fine when it isn't, so that we can have real human connection with one another. And there's different levels of this business intimacy. We're not going to go and tell everybody about our marital problems, and we realize that there's different levels, but we bring still the whole human to the conversation. And so that is we feel it. It's a sensing. We have to like really be conscious and say, yeah, this feels real. I can see who this is as a person, and she shows up as real, right? And it's
Right.
kind
Well,
of a muscle that we're practicing right now.
yeah, and it makes sense because as a coach, you want people to open up to you and get vulnerable so
Yeah.
we can get past some of the things that are holding you back. And if there's not some form of intimacy there where, I mean, where you're in somebody's discomfort space, then
Right.
we're not going to be able to open up those obstacles that people are dealing with to move them to the next growth level or whatever, wherever we're going. So that
Yeah,
makes total
exactly.
sense. That does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that it alludes to is like the relationship moves beyond the transactional. It becomes more
Mhm.
durable, long term, um, more in how can we lift each other up and pull each other forward. And, for the various seasons and the ebbs and flows that we're going to experience in our lives and business, because the old model says, what can I get from you right now? um, how much can I of a return? How can we benefit each other right now? And this says, certainly there's the opportunity for the now, but there's also the, hey, like how we might support each other maybe months or years in developing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Exactly. It's that collaboration versus competition attitude,
Oh,
right? Yeah.
yes, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, and there's no reason for us to be in competition with each other because there's so many to serve,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Right.
I mean,
And
there's
if we bring everyone brings their own uniqueness,
yeah.
then there's no more comparing because we're all
Yeah.
so unique, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, and if you show your real self to the world, people are
yeah.
like, "Oh, I like the real Sarah. I
Yeah.
like the real Jen," right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's that connection that leads to that deeper level of intimacy, because it's beyond the what result are you going to help me create? What result
Mhm.
can we create together? It's the I see you as a human. I see you
Mhm.
as a person,
Yeah.
and that opens that door for that
And there's
intimacy.
that really deep care as well when we
Mhm.
see the human and not just the money, right? And it
Yeah,
goes
Yeah.
for
for
both
sure.
sides.
For
Yeah.
sure. And chasing money is never going to, I mean, you said it at the beginning. You hit the mark and it was like, well, I don't feel any different. And I have read book after book after book that said, yeah, I woke up a millionaire and I felt the exact same the day before.
Right. Yeah. If not worse. Yeah.
Right. There's a new level now of responsibility. Right, right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. So tell us a little bit about the book because it's coming out.
Yeah, so this is the third book called Business Like We're Human. The previous ones are about marketing and selling like we're human. And in the previous ones, I really looked at the relationship between us, the entrepreneur, and our client, and that we as entrepreneurs show up with a more humane attitude towards marketing and selling, so away from this manipulation and pushiness and falseness and things like that. And now with Business Like We're Human, I'm looking at the entrepreneur, at us, and how we can have a humane approach to ourselves and how we want to run our business, and that we care for ourselves first. um,
Mm,
that we care for our environment, so our Mother Earth, and that there's just kind of like an inner peace within us that we then use outside. So I really truly feel that the change that we need in this world right now comes from the inner work, from within. And if we as entrepreneurs, we don't feel this urgency and scarcity and, you know, all of this pushiness and hustle, then there's starts to be an inner peace. And if we feel that inner peace, then we can create the other change that the world needs right now, and we can be peaceful and in harmony with our clients. So it's really a book about looking at business as a way to create outer change, but that means that we need to change our relationship to business, our relationship to work in general, and not, like you just said, Jen, like how if we go out of corporate and then just apply what we learned in the corporate field and apply it the same way in our own business, and be basically our worst own boss as well. So
I'm
let's
horrible.
that.
I can't tell you how many times I've messaged Jenny and said, "Man, I need to leave this job. I work for the worst person in the whole world." Yes, it's horrible. Yes. Yeah.
Well,
But it's
and
just what we know. I mean, it's what we know. And then
Mhm.
it's getting uncomfortable saying, yes, this gave me success before, but I wasn't happy with that success. So how do I do this differently? And I
Right.
think that's amazing. That's amazing. I
Yeah.
love it. Can't wait to read it.
Well, I think the other piece is like it's like so much of what we're told and what's kind of teed up to us is do all this and sacrifice and you know, for some future ambiguous time frame reward. You know, it's like, oh, well, kill yourself doing something and take your week vacation, and that should be enough of a
Right.
reward for all of the sacrifice and and you know, ways that we abuse ourselves, you know, in the pursuit of this attainment of this success. And you know, I think the new business paradigm says like I have to be allow myself to be a human and take care of myself in the midst of creating a business that provides an impact and brings in an income and all of those things.
Yeah.
You know, which is counter to what we're told. Like we're told to like just grind yourself down to nothing, but it'll be okay because on this other side there's this, you know, imaginary world where we all are sipping cocktails at the beach, right? You know?
All day. With
Yeah, it's
unicorns and
exactly
rainbows.
that. It's like, how can we fit the business into our being human every day, right? That is exactly this big idea that I was kind of playing with these last few years, because you know, I started out when our kids were still small, and so that was a big part of my life as well. And then it's very tempting to say, okay, the kids are grown up now, so now, you know, I have more time. I'm just going to work more and work more. And I realized, well, that's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the tagline, like we're human, because humans, and there's this big question that I pose in the book, like, is our work what makes us human? No, it's not, right? That's not what makes us human. And I think a few of us woke up to this realization during COVID, where there was no more work. And it was a big crisis for a lot of people where, you know, they identify themselves by their work or by their job title. And all of a sudden, these big important men, because a lot of them were men, didn't get to travel, you know, all over the world, and they were like not important anymore. And so then in this stillness comes this reflection of, well, who am I and what makes me human? And I think that's part of the zeitgeist right now, this question that we have to ask ourselves, because Jenny, we just talked about AI, and that's part of the book as well. Well, how does AI fit into this conversation of us still being human and very well knowing that AI is going to be part of our
It
experience
is.
coming,
Yeah, for sure.
going forward. And
Mhm.
so the way I look at it, and a lot of people might disagree, the way I look at it is that AI can help us actually be more human, because
Mhm.
we then realize that being human is not just about work. It's about everything that's outside of work. So it's the connections and the community and the making our own food and the singing and all of that
Yeah.
that makes us human. And AI cannot replace that, right?
No,
And
it
so,
can't.
yeah,
You're right.
it's a it's really a deeper conversation about, well, what makes us human and how can we bring that into our business and make that part of it, right?
Yeah, no, that is really, I know my own journey. Um, the thing I've struggled with is I'm creating this spaciousness. I'm creating this um, where I'm not tied to my to-do list, my calendar, my email inbox. Like it's not about like how can I squeeze one more work-related thing in. Is then well, what do I do with this time that I would have default put into work in the past? And like you said, I'm at the same stage where my kids are now no longer requiring my daily mothering, right? So there is that kind of like awkward feeling that you get, this discomfort, like I well, I should be working more, especially if you're in the beginning stages of your business, or like you're not generating the results that you would like to see. Like it's like, oh, I should be doing more. And it's like, well, what if the more isn't the answer? What if the leaning back and allowing that spaciousness to explore yourself leads you to the result that you want to create,
Yeah,
and holding that space for that idea. um it can get a lot of like push and pull, because that's not what we see out there, that's not the message that we hear. So books like Business Like We're Human, like for myself, it was um reaffirming that, okay, I'm not the only person that wants something different, that sees something different for the world. And together, like I think that's like, if we can build the energy and the momentum around that, other people will start to be like, oh, I want, like, opt into that.
yeah, yeah. And imagine what that would do to the world as well, right?
Mm.
Like what
Mhm.
that, I mean, we saw what happened during COVID. All of a sudden there was dolphins again in Venice, and like all kinds of things started happening because humans relaxed and nature started to relax. And so, yeah, that is part of that vision of the new world, I think, that we want.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
So talk about how else you help. I mean, the books are amazing, right? But I know for myself, because you're talking about a different way of being, and there are not a lot of voices out in this world. Like I'm always seeking out voices that are going to help me stay the path, hold that belief. So talk about the other work you bring into the world.
Yeah. So what I offer is different kind of group experiences. We have the Humane Marketing Circle, which is the community where quiet revolutionaries like the three of us here come together and just, yeah, be in this space and ask the questions and question all our assumptions together And then I also bring in other people. I call them collab workshops, where I collaborate with other people that I see are having the same values. So these might be other entrepreneurs who are working on something specific, like for example, how to get clients on LinkedIn, but they do it in that same with those same values. And so I'll bring them in, and they'll host a workshop for the members. And there's all kinds of different business building topics that I just realized I'm at a stage where I don't feel like I should be doing all the teaching like you have in some memberships where it's always one person who does all the teaching. But first of all, I can't be an expert of all of these different things, right? That we have to do in our businesses. And so I love to bring in other people who focus on website design and yeah, LinkedIn and pitching and podcasting, all these different topics, but also part of the being. So that's the doing, but then also the being. So we had a collab workshop about human design, or we're going to look at our healing our past to grow our business. That's the next workshop in September. So like really always doing this dance on doing and being. And so yeah, I love the collaborative style of that, and kind of like walking my talk about, yeah, collaborating more, partnering with others. And then I also have a program called Marketing Like We're Human. So that's based on the first book, the marketing book, and it goes through the 7 P's of humane marketing, which are in this shape of the mandala, because it really is kind of like this idea of starting from within and starting with who you are, finding out more about who you are, how you're wired, what's your why, what are your values, what's your human design, and only then going to your ideal client. All marketing programs I ever took is like, go find your avatar, go find your niche, right? That's where you start. And then people, and me included, build a business that's focused on this client avatar, just serving. And this comes together with the client is always king. And so you're always serving this king, and realize after a year or two, like, this is not the business I wanted. This is not at all who I want to work with. This is not at all who I am. And so that's kind of where these 7 P's came around, where I was like, no, we need to start with ourselves. We need to, if we want to create a business that is aligned with us, we need to start with ourselves. So that's the Marketing Like We're Human program. And then this September, I'm finally also creating a program around selling like we're human. I never thought in a million years, and I put that in the book, Selling Like We're Human. I'm like, I'm not a salesperson. I never thought I'd write a book about it, and I definitely never thought I would, create a program around it. But I just feel like the time has come that people are actually wanting to sell very differently. So they're not expecting the, kind of always be closing advice anymore. They are craving for different ways of selling. So yeah, I just feel like it's time, and so I'm super excited about it, which is crazy because I used to hate selling and all the sales approach and sales advice, and I'm like, well, maybe it's time. We'll
Yeah,
see.
no, I agree. It is absolutely time. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to see it. But I mean, it is that intersection of like doing business differently, right? And increasing that intimacy level with, the relationships that we're looking to build, because it is when you make a sale, it is a relationship. You are committing to each other, and the money exchange just happens to be a way that we measure that commitment. And so, like, how do we change how do we show up differently to meet what like that conscious consumer, that new consumer in this new business world, right? Like all of this is an evolution. So no longer thinking about, how can I price my thing with a 7 or a 9 so it appeals to
Yeah. The thing is, it's still going to be a dance between the, the tangible, kind of practical knowledge about your offering
Yes.
and how to express that offering, and then bringing all this humane language to it, right? So yeah, it's always going to be a dance between the practical, and because our clients, a lot of them are still in the old paradigm, and so we still need to address that old paradigm, right? And
Right.
find them where they're at, so that we can take them to the other side.
Yeah, meeting them where they're at, but giving them
Yeah.
a taste of what it might be like to, because I think a lot of people are worn out
Yeah,
by,
totally.
being sold to the constant promises and, other thing, um, the pace at which, how fast can I get something done?
Yeah.
There's kind of that push and pull that
Yeah.
our clients are in that space for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, just this idea of having a relaxed sales conversation, right? Where there
Mm,
is no script, no agenda. Of course, you can think about it, and you don't have to. I don't want you to put it on the credit card right here, right now, right? Like this, yeah,
yeah.
you can see people's nervous system start to like really relax.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah. And then they are actually saying, but no, I want to sign up now. Can I please sign up? Right?
Yes. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Sarah, it has been amazing, and we will, if you want to connect more with Sarah, get her book. We have the links in the description. Um, and like she said, she's got the business like we're human book, and also her other two books, the Marketing Circle. So we encourage you to check it out. So thank you for joining, Sarah.
Thank you for having me. And I want to just also, because a lot of these offerings were paid offers, so if I could just also give a free offering, so that people can just kind of get to know me through emails. So I have a one-page marketing plan that explains, this idea of working with these 7 Ps, and you can, it's a reflective space where you can think about each of these P's for your own business. And so people can download that at humane.marketing/one page, number one and the word page. I just wanted
Well,
to
and
offer that as well.
yes, definitely. It's a great resource. I've done that work myself, and I also listen to your podcast. So
That's
there's
right.
another
There's
place
a
where
podcast.
people can connect with you, and you bring a lot of amazing guests, these collaborators that I'm sure also pop into the circle. So there's a lot. You're definitely uh, give a lot of ways for people to work with you.
Yeah. We'll make sure to
Thank
include
you.
all those links in the description. So don't worry, people. We got you. We got you.
Yeah, we'll get you where you need to go for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah, thank you again. I know um, I was super excited to have you come on
Mhm.
because, like I said, I've been following you since the beginning of my journey. So to be at this place where I can have someone that like has been a lighthouse for me as I've stayed committed to building a business that allows me to be a human, it's just awesome. So little
Yeah.
fangirl there.
Mhm. Thank
Yes.
you.
And
It's my honor. Thank you,
yeah.
Jen, as well.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next week.